Well, Graham, sadly no game the weekend for you. How have you then looked to use the, I suppose, prolonged break between games?
We'll just cracked on with our training programme this week, but on Saturday we had a sort of an idea potentially could be called off on Saturday, so we booked the pitch here to the 4G to have an 11v11. So on Saturday they still got some sort of game time. Obviously not the same as a full blown on game, but no, they worked hard. So we got 75-80 minutes into them on Saturday, and then cracked on this week. It's been difficult with the weather. We've been on 4G again, with hopefully on grass today, which is more beneficial for the whole squad. But it's been okay. The players understood on Saturday that we couldn't just let the weekend go by doing nothing, so they threw themselves into training on Saturday, which was great. But it's always a disappointment if the game's called off when you're ready to play.
Does it at all drastically change the working week for you when there's no game at the weekend?
Not drastically, because the only thing is, a little bit on the analysis side really, because usually you're debriefing the previous game, but there wasn't that scenario because we'd fully prepped up to the Salford game. But then you quickly, you don't have to debrief the last one, and you're just planning on the next one straight away. So that's all we've done really. We've just got a little bit of fitness work into them yesterday, and then we're going to obviously plan towards the game on Saturday now, because that's the next challenge ahead. But we've been in English football in the north for quite a while, so it's not unusual for your plans to change due to the weather. I'm sure everyone was disappointed, because I'm sure everyone was looking forward to the game. And
in that game that you had on Saturday, I mean, did you, albeit yes, it's not in the competitive environment of a normal game, but did you still sense that intensity, that momentum that you've started to build?
Yeah, 100%. We had a couple of supporters here. That I think one of them his son was going to be the mascot, unfortunately, and the game got called off. So he asked if he could watch training. We obviously let him do that, and then he couldn't believe the ferocity of the challenges going in between each other and the tempo of it. Like it took him by surprise. But for me, that's what the players have been like, day in, day out. So it was really good to see. I think I know that going up to a game, there's a build-up mentally and physically, and there's a lot of energy there, and you've got to spend it, so they're spending it the right way by kicking the hell out of each other.
Do you like that as manager?
Yeah, I do, yeah, 100%. I think it's, to prepare for a proper game, then you have to train that. This is my belief, that I feel that you have to prepare yourself for that, and I think the tempo, the intensity, the challenges coming in, if you want to be ready for the speed of a game on a Saturday, then you have to practice that way, I feel. And if you're getting caught with tackles, then you're not moving the ball quick enough, or you're not aware of the opponents coming in. So the more aware you are, the quicker you move the ball, the less contact you'll take. So that's how we want the game on a Saturday or Tuesday to be a continuation of what they've been doing anyway. We don't want it just to be like flatlining and then all of a sudden expect them to spike in all sort of levels, either mentally or physically. We understand you can't copy a game day in, day out. It's impossible to keep up that sort of level, but certainly for short periods of time you can. And I just think that it's speed is speed of thought, speed of movement, speed of pass is one of the biggest things that separates the best teams or the levels, and the quicker we can train at, I think we take that into games and play accordingly.
In terms of numbers in the squad and availability, how are you set right now?
We've got a lot of players. I think we've got 24 outfield players training yesterday and training today. So we're sort of we've got the numbers back. I think pretty much sure everyone's training. I think maybe a couple of young lads that are injured, but no, all the senior players are out there training, competing. There's different levels where players are at. There's some lads that have been out for a little while, and they're still on the sort of come back to full fitness. But at the moment we've got 24 players all sort of chomping at a bit, so it's a little bit difficult when we have 11 for have to miss out, or we rotate and try and use our imagination. But we want everyone to have full training sessions, so it's we're quite healthy at the moment.
So Liam Rideold, in terms of that concussion, that's all cleared?
He's been training for maybe a week. The first few days when he came back, it was probably about 10 days. First few days, he had to just be steady, and we had to manage him. But after the first 3 or 4, that was it. He was fully into it, and to be fair, he's thrown himself around, competing with everything. So there's no after effects from that.
And is the picture at all any clearer in regards to Dan Oyegoke? Because I know his situation's now in the hands of Brentford. Do you know any more?
Yeah, we've spoke with Brentford, and we spoke with Dan as well. So we're going to keep his registration. There's been a deal done between the two teams. Obviously, it's not the cost is a lot less while he's injured, but when he comes back to full fitness, he'll be coming back to us and available for potentially running to the end of the season, depending on when he gets fit. So Ryan spoke with Brentford, sorted that out. I spoke to Dan. He was really excited about coming back. He's really positive about his rehab so far. So we just feel there's a really good player there that could help us at a really important stage of the season. So we'll see when he comes back. But that's the latest.
And then between now and that point that he does return, is it in your plans to keep in touch with him, just try and keep him in some way involved with the group, even though he's probably elsewhere? Yeah,
like I said, I spoke to him a few days ago, and I said I'd catch up with him again around Christmas, and just to see how his rehab's going and stuff. And it had been not a pointless exercise, but it had been stretching it by bringing him and doing all his rehab up here while he can't play. So I think it's more comfortable and better for him to do it at his parent club. But we don't. I think his return date to us is still to be sort of negotiated, whether it's when he's fully back into training or just before that. I'm not sure yet, but we'll have to speak to them closer to that time. But I'll speak to Dan as we go along. But it's one of them where I've got probably 30 players on our books to keep in contact with. But yeah, it's part of the job. I actually quite like it, especially with good lads like Dan. They're good to speak to.
Just on your other loan players, John Tompkinson, how big a role do you see him playing this season?
It'll be down to John, really. It's he's shown in the game last week that he can compete at that level. It's not a League Two game because obviously the opposition we were playing against, but what we wanted to do in that game, how we wanted to press, how we wanted to commit our outside centre halves to press and join in the attacking phase of play. He did all that as well in the game. He's shown that in training that he can compete. So it's down to John, really. We've got, I think, real good competition in those positions. I think Liam Ridehouse comes into that as well, potentially in the back three as well as a competitor for that. So I think we've got 5 or 6 players for that back three if we continue with that. I like John. I think a lot of the lads like John. A lot of the staff popular with the squad, but he's itching. He's desperate to get his senior career up and running, really, with first team football. So if we think he's ready to help us win a game, then he'll get his opportunity, and then it's always down to the players to perform.
Similar question then for Rayan Tulloch and Chisholm Afoka, 2 players that we haven't seen all that much of lately. Do they again have a role for you in this squad? It's
down to the players. I had a chat with them maybe 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, because they've came here. I know it hasn't gone as they'd hoped or planned. There's a change of formation, really, which might make it difficult for players in those positions to break through. But the opportunity is there, and I say every day is an opportunity for players. sometimes when players say, I haven't been given the opportunity, but well, they train every single day. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about them in particular, but when players in general say that, well, you train in front of the manager against your teammates every single day, that's an opportunity to go, I can be in this team and I can help you win. So it's the same with them. While players are signed with us, training, fully fit, they're always an option for me as a manager. I don't, I've never banished players off to different teams or anything like that. I think I want to keep everyone together as much as we can. But listen, there's good players here. The team has been a good little run of form, so the challenge is there. And young players have to understand that football is full of challenges as you go through your career. Nothing's ever given to you on a plate, so it's up to you to fight for it. So the opportunity is there for everybody.
You mentioned the form that you're on at the moment and the goals that you scored as well. I remember when we first spoke, you talked about the importance of not just relying on Andy Cook to score the goals like he did so often last season for this football club. How pleasing has that been for you to see that goal scoring responsibility shared across the team?
Yeah, I think it's vital. I really do. I think, like I say, I talk about everyone believes scoring goals is this mystical, magical sort of ingredient, and but you have the technique to score goals in every other aspect of play. Passing, crossing, all those sort of things. So it's just understanding, or getting the players to understand that it is that it's everyone can do it, but you have to get into certain areas. You have to have certain deliveries. You have to have a certain intent in your mind about almost needing rather than hoping. And so that's what we've tried to do with players, and we constantly encourage players in training to have a go, to commit to goal scoring areas. But the set piece is really important for us. So centre halves have to come to the fray. Our wing backs, how advanced they are, how aggressive they are, they can, and Lewis has scored for us already. Midfielders with the midfield runs. I think Richie Smallwood had a couple of strikes on target last week, and one led to a goal with the rebound for Verdane. So there's so many different ways of scoring goals, and we need to try and tick as many boxes as possible, and not just rely on one particular player or one particular sort of aspect of scoring a goal. I think we just got to look at all the opportunities that we can create in a game and try and take as many as possible. So the players understand that. We instill it in our daily training. There's always goals involved in our training sessions. So we like I say, we train as we play, or we want to. So it's been really pleasing that players have stepped up, shown the quality. I knew the quality was there. I knew the ability was there. It's just directing that focus and that mind into not forgetting what football was about, and it's about scoring goals. And so we constant little reminders, loads of encouragement, and then let the players flourish.
Appreciate this will be a topic that will continue to be discussed right the way up until the January window. But when we talk about goals, one of your players who is scoring goals elsewhere in the form of Jake Young, specifically on him, is he someone that you're monitoring, and is it likely that he'll be recalled in January?
We monitor all our players. It's important that we do that. I'd be reluctant to talk particularly about Jake because of he's currently playing for another club and doing really well. So I don't want to disrupt anything that's going on there. I don't think it's right for me to do that. But we're well aware of all our players, not just Jake, on what they're doing for their clubs, and that's the young lads as well at non-league clubs, because we want to see if they have the potential to come and help us in January as well. So as I said, with all the players in our current squad, that they all have the opportunity. We know we have an opportunity in January to not shake up the squad, but just trim it a little bit, maybe improve it if we can. That's always the target when you go into a window, is can you come out of it in better shape than you went into it. So that'll be our target, and if we believe any one player can help us do that, or two players or three players, then we'll try to do that. But like I said before, the numbers are a little bit too big at the moment for it to be working as I would see a really healthy competitive squad to be working. So there's improvement to do on that side of it. But look, we know what all our players are doing. It's our responsibility to know what they're doing, and keep in contact with people, and then see what January brings.
On to Gillingham. just your thoughts on them as opponents, and is Stephen Clemens someone that you've come across previously in your career?
Yeah, I think I'm sure I've coached against him, and I'm pretty sure I've played against him, but only a couple of times, but not so much as a head coach, obviously. I think he has tried to change their style a little bit. I think he's obviously trying to imprint his thoughts on in his squad in his new club. So, but listen, I've learned over the years, Gillingham's a really tough place to go. Whatever division you play at, whatever stage of the season, it's always a venue where their crowd get behind them and make it difficult for you. So we're looking forward to it. You know, we're really looking forward to it. We're probably itching a little bit with not having a game last Saturday and the Saturday before, to be honest. So it'll be good to get on a Saturday afternoon again and actually get a game. But yeah, it's I think all the teams in League Two are competitive and anyone can beat anyone. So we have to make sure that we're as aggressive, as focused as we have been, A, in training, and B, in all the other games that we've played so far.
Great.
Okay.
You're saying there, growing back Gillingham, I mean, it always seems it's one of them fixtures, I think, because it's always miles away. And I mean, you'll probably appreciate this, obviously, for the clubs you played for. Yeah. I mean, it does sort of one of those on the fixture list that you think if you can get a result there, you can get a result most places, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a common sort of thought about. It's like the old wet Tuesday in Stoke, isn't it? That everyone used, cold wet Tuesday on Stoke. I think each game is a challenge. I don't think any particular game allows you to go and win any other game. So I think that's a dangerous school of thought for any player or coach to be in, where whatever you've done previously helps you win the next one. I think you have to reset all your values, all your sort of expectations going into every game, and make sure that you understand what the challenge is ahead, but making sure that you fully commit to what you do as a player or as a team, as a manager. That's the most important thing for me, really, is before we concentrate on anyone else, can we get to the levels that we expect and go for? But I think you do have, I get the question where there's certain challenges through a season, you know what they're going to be. You look at a game, you know what that's going to be, you know what that's going to be, and
you're on the bus so long, and it's
and it can be it can be a challenge where you go, yeah, that's one that we've knocked off, but I think it's dangerous to think some are more dangerous than others. But I think just because of their every year you sort of go there, like I think you understand it's never an easy game. So it's maybe the travelling's got a part to do with it. I'm not sure, but maybe that's a little bit of weakness in people's minds, that they let it creep into them. That we've been on the bus for a few hours and this, that, the other. I think as a professional footballer, you've got to be stronger than that and understand that each preparation for every game is different. But come Saturday at 3:00, you've got to be ready, the same week in, week out.
And the fact that, as you say, other results, you look back on other results going down there and think probably doesn't make any difference. The fact that last season a lot of this team went down there and produced probably one of their best away performances. I think in March, I don't know if you've spoken about it at all, Andy Cook scored the goal of the season that night. Do you think those sort of, as a player, do you think when you've got memories like that from your previous visit, that can sort of, perhaps lift you a bit when you're going back there and sort of familiarising yourself with the surroundings?
Yeah, I think there's certain grounds maybe as a player, I think that you felt, I don't know, it worked for you or something. I mean, I know I had a couple of grounds that I felt like that I never played for those clubs, so I always seemed to play well there for some reason. I still can't put my finger on it, but I think positive memories and good memories are important. I think it's good to visualise positive thoughts and past victories or positive performances, but understand that you've got to go and do it again. I mean, you're not going to get a goal on your plate, but someone spoke to me a few weeks ago about that performance at Gillingham, and potentially thinking that was the key to the rest of the season, but obviously that wasn't the case. So that's what we don't want to fall into a trap of at any period, thinking until it's the final game of the season, you've completed that. That's where you are. There's no game before that defines where you end up. You still have to follow it up with performances, with wins, with results. So, but we understand the challenge of going down Gillingham. But I want my players to feel confident going into any venue and being confident, looking around their own change room, looking at their teammates and thinking, we've got a good team here, we've got good guys here that are ready to be connected, to commit to each other, to support each other. That's where I would like our players to get their confidence from, rather than performances 1, 2, 3 years ago.
Yeah, so goes on the next question. We were saying last week about the window, and you sort of saying you look around this squad and you think there's more than enough in this squad to be up the challenge. And I mean, presumably as players, when you hear that or read that, that must give them a bit of a lift to think, well, this is what our boss is saying, and he's saying it publicly. That's got to make them sort of feel a bit more belief in themselves.
I would hope so, but I'm not saying it for that reason. I think I try to be honest with everything, but I always look at my own team, whether I was a player or as a coach, that I think we can do good things. There's always ways of improving. I think there's always never going to a game down thinking, we've got no chance of winning. Never done that. I always think there's opportunities to win, but it's trying to work out how to win and then put that plan in place. But I think we're managers and players, and I think it's off actions. I think if I was saying one thing to you, but I was saying a different thing in there, or on the change on the training ground, then that comment or this public comment wouldn't mean anything to players. They'd think I was a fraud. I think how I talk to you guys, how I talk to them, is how I talk on the training ground, how I talk in the change room. I think I want my team to be positive. We want to play in a positive way. We want to go to every opponent and go, we're here to win. That's what we want to be. So you have to think like that all the time, to make it be natural. And I wouldn't even say it's an act. I think it's just how I generally am. You know what I mean? I'm not going, right, I have to feel like this, or I better think like this. I think that's how the game has defined me or chiseled me down to, well, you have to win to stay in it. You know what I mean? That's the reality. So I think the players, as a player, I wanted my manager to think that I was a good player, that I think our team was a good team, and not be overfussed about what the opponent can do and worry too much. I didn't like that, So I tried to manage my team as I wanted to be managed. It might be the wrong way, right, but it feels right to me that I believe in these players, and I want them to believe in each other and believe in themselves first and foremost, that they can succeed.
I just think your options up front, where you can freshen it up and rotate, and that's at this time of year, when the games are starting to come, that's
rotate.
Touch wood.
Yeah, rotate. There's that word.
Well,
rotate
change.
And recovery and all that. Yeah. No. Listen, as a player, I wanted to play every single minute of every single game.
Yeah.
And I'm sure these guys are no different. And I think I don't know if you talk a little bit that way, I think it weakens their mind, and I think if you got a weak mind, then you'll be physically weak. I think you have to go, no, I can play every minute. These are professional footballers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're professionals. This is their life. And, they should live like professionals and think like professionals. And every game is a challenge. Is a chance to do what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's it. So. I hated that word rotation as a player. It got used against me a little bit in my late 30s, so I fought against it like hell. And so I think we have to assess players. You know what I mean? I've not got like a team for this game, a team for that game, and then I might have to rotate him. I've got a clean slate with these players, and it's up to them to show me and prove that they're fit enough to help us win every game. That's it. So I think it's good that we've got healthy competition, and without a shadow of a doubt, we won't just play 11 players for those games. Yeah. But I can tell you who might drop out and might come in and this, that, the other right now, because I'm a big believer in sort of rewarding performances and wins with there's the shirt again. That's what you have to fight for every time you go on that pitch. It's what kept me going as a player. I was fighting to have the shirt on again next week. You know what I mean? So I think you've got to reward that a little bit and put it in the hands of the players.
I mean, everyone, you need strong dressing rooms, but this time of year, I suppose it comes into focus more. There's distractions with Christmas. There's long away trips. There's pitches that aren't perfect, and this is when you're dressing up polices each other. And
Oh, listen, without a shadow of doubt, it's never just down to me as a head coach or a manager just to be that person. Like I said, I think we were talking about Richie and a captain. I think it's never down to one person to be able to do that. It's a group of people with the discipline. Like I just said there, we're professionals. So with professionalism comes discipline, comes focus. So and the discipline and focus when no one can see you. That's the most important time. When those mince pies are on the table and everyone's scoffing them, and you've got a game the next day, you have to be disciplined. You have to sleep at the right time, all that sort of stuff. And results and performances prove whether you're doing that or not. We don't have to micromanage players and text them this time checking they're in bed or anything like that. Performances, and that's why we train as we want to play. Because training will tell me if someone's ready to play a game on a Saturday. So we train in a way where it's a challenge for players, where they have to prepare for training, which is important. But I think it produces good habits, which will hold them in good stead for seasons to come.
When you've been sort of 3 times been out of management at this time of year, is this when you sort of miss it really? I mean, Christmas as a player, that's probably all you knew, and then when you're out of management, you probably missed it, didn't you, last Christmas?
Missing what? Football?
Missing management, when you want not been in management.
I try to get positive from whatever was happening in my life, So like last year, I was working, so my wife went on a holiday that we'd never had the opportunity to do at that time of year. So it was that's how you sort of see it. You try and make every day work for you. You try and make every period where whatever you're doing, go right. What can I get from this day? What can I get from this week? So I had a really good Christmas last year, a different one from what I'm used to for the last 30 years. I know which one I prefer, and that's working, that's discipline, because it's good for my belly as well.
I was just going to ask you, finally, like some managers are big on blocks of games and points and all that. Are you sort of one of those?
Never.
No.
I couldn't get that. I don't get that. How you can try this amount of points, this amount. I mean, surely your target's got to be maximum. That's how I see it. You know what I mean? I wouldn't ever. I don't really. It's unless someone educates me in a better way of going. That's a better way of doing it. But I've experienced it once as a player. It didn't work for me or the team. I don't. I just bite-sized chunks. Next game, can we win it? Hopefully, the answer is yes, and then crack on.